I suppose two games that strung up a massive shock, obviously, this weekend is about Cavan and Tip getting relegated. Longford
Yeah.
beat Tipperary 113 to 9 points. Wicklow beat Cavan 311 to 18 points. I mean, and like I was watching the Wicklow Cavan game. I actually rewatched the Longford Tip game earlier today. The mad thing is really like neither side ever looked like winning this game. Tipperary were never in front at any stage in the game. Cavan led I think at one stage at the start of the second half, and that was it. Like for two counties to be provincial champions and not only going down to Division 4, but they went down with a whimper. I mean, it's mad to see how that's happened.
Yeah, I know. Like I wasn't expecting either county to get anywhere near winning the provincial. Like they definitely overachieved last year, but I didn't expect their fall from grace to be that quick. If that makes sense. It does show you though, like how hard it is to when a team has overachieved. It's the second season syndrome, really. To see it so evident here with both counties is pretty. It's pretty stark. Yeah, massive disappointing, obviously, for both counties to be in Division 4. And like you said, both counties didn't play that well. It's not like they were robbed or anything like that. I know Cavan had 18 scores to 14, but they never really looked like looking. That'd be the biggest concern for both of them. For to be playing Division 4 football, like it's just the graveyard. It's just not, you cannot be playing Division 4 football and expect. Like we saw last year, you'd always have that little bit of hope. If you're Division 3, you can maybe spring a surprise. Where Division 4 is definitely not great for it. Yeah. It I was expecting like for them to come back to their norm a little bit this year, but not in that sense. Like, I think Tipperary are going to get absolutely battered by Kerry, similar to what Galway and Tyrone probably did. And yeah, I wouldn't have too much hope for Cavan. So yeah, massive disappointment. Obviously the two counties that they'll never take away that provisional title, but it just shows you the madness of last year probably played a small bit of a part, and they're kind of come back to that norm, albeit they probably regress further based on that second season syndrome, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of mad, like, because you nearly put them in the same bracket, like when they won obviously their provincial titles on that historic weekend, the Bloody Sunday weekend. Obviously, they won both their provincial titles on that weekend, and now they've both been relegated to Division 4 in the same weekend. It is sort of mad, and it's kind of crazy how it's literally flipped. And in many ways, it kind of reminds me a bit of when Liverpool won the league there a few years ago. It was the highest of highs, and in the end, of course, this season for Liverpool was almost like the lowest of lows when they were going on that run. They were losing at Anfield every week. You didn't think it could get much worse. And that's kind of how it looks like for Cavan and Tip. They hit the mountain in many ways last year. And now this year they've just gone crumbling back down. And like with Tier 2 coming in next year as well, like especially for a county like Cavan, because like I feel like Cavan are a team like Tipperary, I thought winning the Munster title was, like, I don't want to be disingenuous to any Tip fans or anything like that, but I feel like it was a bit of a fluke, because at the end of the day, they didn't even play Kerry. Like, they played Cork, who were in the same division as them, and they played, I think, Clare and Limerick on route to win it. But for Cavan going into Tier 2, like, because they have some top class players, and I mean, the fact they beat two Division 1 teams on route to winning the Ulster Championship last year as well, it's just mad, to be honest. I can't get my head around it.
Yeah, well, again, it shows you like the second season syndrome is a thing. Like, I always remember Reading were the first Premier League team I remember suffering from that disease, and I know this year Sheffield United, obviously. Like, to be fair to Cavan in one way, like, I know Mickey Graham, he has no interest in the league. Like, there's managers that have interest in the league, want to win it. There's managers that they want to develop players, but I know Mickey, he has no interest in the league. But there's having no interest in the league, and then there's losing to Wicklow to get relegated to Division 4. Like, I was talking to a few of my GAA team actually afterwards, and we were talking, Jesus, she's Cavan now. One lad said they'll have to play Wicklow next year. I was like, sure, Wicklow beat them in Division 3. Do you know what I mean? It's like, when you think of Division 4, you always think of Wicklow. So let's not forget what an amazing achievement it is. And Cavan won't be playing Wicklow next year, but they will be playing Division 4 teams. It's like, I never really got managers like not putting too much emphasis into the league. I get wanting to peak for championship, but like at the end of the year, particularly if a manager wants to keep his job, like having those league games on the CV, oh look, we're in division whatever, there's no long-term thinking there, because it's great Mickey Gray, and he'll obviously be judging championship results, but in 5 years time Cavan will probably, I don't know, maybe only be Division 3 now off the back of all this relegation messing that they've done now. To who knows, if with Tipperary there now, they might not get promoted for like 2 years out of Division 4. There's no guarantee you'll go up. it's a mess. It's an absolute mess they've got themselves in, from winning an Ulster championship so impressively, played very well against Dublin. I know they were beaten well, they were never going to win it, but it's great seeing that happening. And I understand there's going to be a bit of a tail off, but to lose to Wicklow in a relegation playoff, it's a disaster, absolute disaster. That's not exaggerating at all to say that.
Yeah, no, you're spot on there. Like, and Wicklow deserve huge credit. Like, definitely, like what you said. Like, I think for them to stay in Division 3, I think is a phenomenal achievement, considering they lost all their 3 league games. And I suppose like there was different stages in that game where you felt like Cavan were gonna come back into it, and you were kind of waiting for Cavan to click into gear. And Wicklow were really well set up, to be fair to them. They got a lot of men behind the ball. They made it difficult for Cavan. I think Davy Burke definitely got his tactics spot on. And they were lofting a lot of long balls, I felt, into the likes of Shawnee Furlong and a few of the other lads. And they just capitalised quite massively. And I think for Cavan, though, I still think the game was there for Cavan to win. I think they just needed to step it up a notch and take more risks, and they just didn't seem to do so.
Yeah, like Shawnee Furlong, you got 2-3, didn't he? And there's Patrick O'Connor there in the well. So a couple of good forwards, Wicklow, for that level of football. And again, on the wider points, great seeing competitive games like that. And it just shows you there's a structure there somewhere, lads, to come up with in the championship. But yeah, it's amazing for Wicklow. Like, and obviously another Leinster county. Just when I get a bit excited talking about Wicklow, I remember they're in Leinster. But it's absolutely amazing for them to stay up, like, and to beat a team like Cavan, who I wouldn't rule out maybe having an Ulster run based on what I said about. I know they've no interest in the league. Mickey Graham does. I know they wanted to win the game, but like when I was watching bits of the match, I was, oh yeah, you're waiting for Cavan. Okay, Cavan will start playing now, and then with a minute to go, you kind of go, oh yeah, it's too late now, lads. There's actually no comeback here. So definitely a shock. I wasn't expecting it personally. I was thinking Cavan were way ahead, but fair play to Wicklow, and to be playing Division 3 football. Like, well, Wicklow will never be winning Leinster titles or anything. I know they've never actually won one ever in their history, but for them to be playing Division 3 football is such a good platform for them every year to try and see can they stay up. And if you can do that for, like, I don't know, you have a long-term strategy that in 5 years to stay in Division 3, let's then talk about getting into Division 2. You can never rule that out. So I know they've been Division 4 for ages, so to get 2 years in a row now in Division 3 is amazing.
Yeah, it's massive exposure as well as for a lot of the different players kind of coming through Wicklow at the moment to be playing those level of counties. And I suppose for Longford, like, fair play to them as well for getting the win over Tipperary. They showed a lot of steel to get that victory. I suppose a word on Tipperary. I mean, it was a strange one as well. Like, I remember I seen Conor Sweeney miss an easy mark in front of the goal with about 5 to 10 minutes to go. Like, they didn't even look fit enough in my opinion as well. They looked exhausted, dead on their feet. It's a strange one with Tipperary. And I suppose maybe like what they said on the Sunday game, maybe they just accumulate all their energy, or, put in all their energy in those provincial, in that Munster championship win last year.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like, they put all that effort into winning. Like, for a Tipperary footballer, like, you would have grown up wanting to win a Munster title, and like the Michael Quillivan and all are definitely good, and Conor Sweeney are good enough players to win a Munster title. But I think it would have been a surprise for them that they managed to do it, because obviously they haven't won one in 85 years. So when you're particularly grown up, so to achieve something that you weren't probably realistically not even expecting yourselves, they achieved it just after, like, if they achieved it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they were up and coming at the time under forgotten his name. He's on the Celebrity Banner Store. Like, Liam Kearns, they were probably almost a better team when they got to that All-Ireland semi-final than last year. So the fact they got there to the summit, it's just so hard to pick yourself up. Like, I know Michael Quillivan got black carded in the game. He didn't score from play. Like, I look at him, I think he's so much talent. And to a lesser extent last year, I don't know if Tipper ever really managed to get the best out of him or found a system to get the best out of Michael Quillivan. And the fact that I know you got black card, he didn't score again. You're looking at that going, yeah, you have the talent there. I don't know himself if he's, after that win in Munster, whether that's enough for that group of players. And it's not a case that they're taking their foot off the gas consciously, but subconsciously you're just, a couple of percent off it. And it just shows you, like you said, they're fair play to Longford for winning it. Another year in Division 3, but for Tipperary, like, you look at a Michael Quillivan now, they'll get hammered by Kerry in the Munster semi-final. You look at a player like him next year going, I know I'm going on a lot about him, but I've always been a big fan of his. You're looking at him next year going, I'm going to get played 7 games in Division 4. I'm either going to be playing Kerry or Cork in a Munster semi-final. I don't know if he'll be motivated. I could see some of the younger lads potentially. I know he's travelled before, Michael Quillivan. You don't know, he might not even play next year. So it just, that all stems from playing Division 4 football. Well, that won't be the one factor in a player like Michael Quinlan not playing for Tipperary next year. It's definitely a small part of it. It could be the difference. So yeah, massive disappointment for Tipperary. And while it's obviously more of a shot for Cavan, Tipperary do still have those players like Conor Sweeney, who obviously he still played well there the last day. But Michael Quillivan, he's such a talent, and he doesn't want to be a Division 4 footballer. So I don't know if he'll have the motivation to be put in next year. So that, again, very disappointing from Tip.
Yeah, like, and I suppose for Michael Quinlivan, like, I feel a bit sorry for him in many ways, because he was battling injury, obviously, in the entirety of the league campaign. He comes back into the team. He actually kicked a brilliant point, and then for whatever reason the referee disallowed it. I didn't get to see it, but then he was given out to the referee and he got black carded because of it. So it was so he was really unlucky. Like, and when he came back on the pitch, then he didn't get another opportunity to score, unfortunately. So he was very unlucky.